the first hour, good friend of mine, he's an actor, Mr. Dominic Calvito, and Dominic was actually one of the actors who made the cult favorite movie, The Toxic Avenger. And they just had I think it just came out on Blu-ray recently, and so they sort of relaunched it. And so he's going to tell us a little bit about, how it was making the movie and what's going on with him. And then our second hour, we have a paranormal investigator from Rhode Island, Richard Griffith Jr., who's going to come on and talk with us as well. So it ought to be a lot of fun.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I want to give everybody a shout-out, all the listeners, all the fans, all the people in the chat room. Thank you all so much for tuning in every week to make the show awesome. That's all I got to say. So I guess we got to do that. So I want to kick it off with the news real quick. What the fuck?
What's going on?
What are you doing?
Who?
All I hear is up. Sounds like you're shooting fun.
No, that's not me. I don't know who's doing that.
Oh, well. It's all good. All good.
It's all good. So weird news. We've got some very scientific weird news tonight. And we've got a little weirdness as well. So, that's a good thing. Do you want to start it off, or do you want me to pick one?
Sure. We have 3 people possessed when using Ouija boards. 3 people ended up being rushed to the hospital after being allegedly possessed during a Ouija session. Alexandra Hirita, her brother Sergio, and their cousin Fernando Cuevas had been playing around with a Ouija board in the Mexico village of San Juan when all 3 of them started exhibiting strange behavior. Within minutes of beginning the session, Alexandra was said to have fallen into a deep trance-like state before growling manically like a dog and thrashing around uncontrollably. Sergio and Fernando soon began to experience strange symptoms of their own, including vivid hallucinations, blindness, and deafness. A local Catholic priest was called in to perform an exorcism, but he allegedly refused to do so because none of them were regular churchgoers.
What a jerk.
You got to love the Catholic Church, right? It's like, nah, you're not good enough. I'm not going to help you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You're just a dipshit. You don't go to church. I don't give a fuck about you. Fuck you. You got to love the church. You got to love them. They can choose who they help.
Are you kidding?
Man is created equal, you fucking idiots.
And I was raised Catholic, and they did some things that pissed me off in my life. Also, I hate the way that also their views on women, their views on divorce, and the whole thing. I can't always take it, but if you're dropping lots of money into the donation basket, they'll come out and do an exorcism for you. But come on. What if, I don't think they were really possessed, but what if they were? What if they really needed an exorcism, and then this guy is just blatantly, flat out refusing to deal with them at all because they don't go to his church regularly? That's sad. That's sad.
In my honest opinion, I think that priest should be shot right in the fucking head. That is wrong. It is his job to help all of God's creations. That includes everybody, regardless. Jesus fucking Christ didn't even go to church regularly, did it? What the fuck?
No. Church is where you are, and, my problem with that is that everyone knows that the Catholic Church, the Catholic Church are the ones that started exorcisms. We are the ones that are trained with that, our priests, and I see ads all the time, saying, and they run them on TV sometimes. I see them on billboards. Come back, Catholics, to the Catholic Church. And, this is a reason why maybe we don't want to go back. If that's how it is. It's a bad, that makes the church look bad. It's a bad representation for them. And I'm sure Dominic's probably Catholic. He's Italian. He's out there, New Jersey, right?
Yes, I'm Italian.
Yeah.
I'm Catholic, and
I knew it.
The only problem is after all this stuff that you've been hearing lately throughout the years, I don't know what to believe anymore. With all this terrorism and what happens in the Catholic Church, I can't believe that what you're supposed to believe.
Yeah.
the problem with religion, in my honest opinion, is man literally twisted it up however they felt like it. Do you really think God, has all these laws and regulations that man must obey? Fuck no. Fuck no. But he wants you to live in peace and happiness, regardless if you believe in him or not. He wants you to be peaceful and happy, much like you would want with your own kids. If my kids hate my fucking guts, I don't give a shit. Let them hate my guts. As long as I know they're happy and they're healthy. That's all I care about.
Exactly. You're right. You're definitely right about that. That's the most important thing that everybody hopes for their children. And the way they act in the churches and the way you hear on the news that this one raped this one had this one tied up in a basement, this one was there. I mean, it's nauseating. I haven't been to church either. It's not that I don't believe in God, because I really much do. It's the fact of what goes on in the church. God has nothing to do with that. It's the belief of what people believe at that point in church and what they're being taught. They believe what they want to believe.
Yeah, it's a lot of bullshit politics going on there, and unfortunately that does. I mean, it really ruins it for a lot of us. I'm a very, very spiritual person, but I only go to church really like with my mother or on holidays because I just can't get into all of the things going on there. But back to the story. Let's talk about this. The Ouija board, possessing people. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Investigators. That's my honest opinion.
I just think they were wanting attention. I mean, what do you think, Jason? Like wanting attention, trying to get attention?
I think it is. I think it's these idiots that should not be investigating it, because that's all Ouija boards are. It's an investigating tool. Use it or not, it don't matter. You're going to get the same sort of activity regardless if you're using a K2 meter or a Ouija board. It's the same sort of thing. Ouija board is by man, much like a K2 meter. They're both the same. So you get these ignorant investigators, just wanting attention or wanting that, that thing happen. They want to hear pounds on the walls, and they want to get pushed. They want to get scratched. And if you're asking for all that, you're going to fucking get it. You're going to get it. It's as simple as that.
It is as simple as, and to me, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, look at how far Ouija boards and witch boards go back. Like, really, that was the early K2. Think about it. Like, that's what people used. They didn't have, the technology that we have now. That was their way of communicating. They didn't have flashlights that turned off and on, or any of that stuff that everyone tries to do now. How do you feel about Ouija boards, Dominic? Have you ever tried one? Do you have any experience with that?
No, I never actually tried it. I never wanted to.
Right.
But as I'm getting older, and I watch a lot of the Science Channel and history, and I see how it is now. And it's really interesting. I never wanted to, because I didn't know what it was going to bring.
Right.
I watch a lot of ghost adventure shows, and it's really gotten into me. But what it is I see a lot of people using the Ouija board, and I see stuff happening. And I don't know. What I never wanted to.
It's very often.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I like them. I've always liked them, even though I was raised Catholic. I've always had one or several, and I've never had a problem with it. I've had lots of friends who from like, oh my God, put that thing away. Don't bring that to my house. Growing up, but I never was afraid of it, and I never thought it was a problem. And certainly I was never possessed when I was doing it. I mean, ever. That's crazy. So the next story that we're going to talk about tonight, Dominic, is your radio turned up?
All right, hold on. Yeah, all right, it is now.
Okay. I hear myself repeating in the background. The next story, we're going to do a little science here, and this is from Smithsonian.com. Could implants in the brain revive memory? That's pretty interesting. So this is actually a study being done by the Defense Department. They're funding this research to see if neuroprosthetics implanted in the brain can heal damaged memory. My God, how fantastic would that be? I mean, that's fucking fantastic.
That would be awesome.
I mean, yeah, and so, they're saying that, in the past 50 years, we've learned a lot about the way that the human brain works, more than ever before. And neuroscientists are very quick to acknowledge, the center of our nervous systems still remain largely a mystery. And near the top of the list of enigmas is how does memory work? How to restore it once it's lost? And I mean, look at the things that we do. Look at how many people are trying to go through even past life regressions or even just normal hypnosis therapy to try to find memories that they've lost, even in this lifetime. As we get older, our memory's maybe not so good as it once was. I mean, I'm not that old, but I find myself struggling to recall some of my memories where I feel like I need to write them down now, old memories that, I'm like, God, I forgot about that, But so now, through a fast-growing branch of neuroscience, it's known as direct brain recording. Scientists can actually follow brain activity in real time through implanted electrodes. And this technique could actually enable them to map how our neurons communicate when our memories are formed or recalled, which might, make it possible for them to actually develop a device that could mimic the memory creation process by stimulating those same neurons. And it's wild. I mean, it may seem a bit wild, but DARPA, D-A-R-P-A, the agency that funds cutting-edge research for the U.S. Department of Defense, believes so much in the technology's potential that it recently announced grants totaling over $40 million to see if a neuroprosthetic could be developed in the next 4 years. And I wonder how the Department of Defense, why they're involved with this. Like, we're trying to recall memories, but how are we going to use this for defense? Like, doesn't it make you sort of think when they're fooling around with brains and implants, totally makes me think about Total Recall, right? Think about that.
That's incredible.
I think it would definitely lower the amount of cases that we have with split personality disorders. A lot of those are created by repressed memories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's so true. And, yeah, I mean, if they can learn how to manipulate the brain in this fashion, yeah, they could really help a lot of people with those types of disorders. Now, they're saying that, some of the scientists are looking at different ways to unravel this mystery. And in San Diego, the National Institute of Health, there's Robert Manilow, one of the scientists from the University of California. He has been able to use precisely targeted light beams to wipe out, okay, now that's crazy, to wipe it out and then restore memories. Now, he is experimenting also with mice, but still, I mean, look at it. That's just like the movie in Total Recall. What if they could wipe out your memory and then restore whatever memories they want to put there? Think about it. So
think about what that technology could be used with the government.
Yeah.
Think of what the government could use with that knowledge. They could fuck everybody up.
Yeah. So messed up. And
that's scary.
It is scary as shit. This article scares me like crazy, and it lets you see, just how far they're really going with this type of thing. And, so many people will hear about something like this, in a vague way, and they'll think, oh, yeah, that's bullshit. Like, that's just some shit that happens in the movies. Yeah, no. But this is the truth.
Keep in mind, people, this particular article didn't come from some bullshit website. It didn't come from some asshole who is a scientist enthusiast. This actually came from the Smithsonian Museum website. If anyone knows the Smithsonian, they are one of the most highly respected museums in the world. Right.
And if they're saying it, this is true. And imagine, if they're giving us an article like this, imagine, though, how much more serious this is even than this article says, because they never tell you everything, never. And so last summer, researchers out at Columbia University Medical Center said that they were able to significantly improve the memories of old mice, like old age mice, by increasing the level of a particular protein in their brain. It's just crazy. I mean, this was considered a radical concept when it was promoted by the University of Southern California neuroscientist Theodore Berger, only a few years back. And now DARPA sees this potential as innovative, and they're seeing that they would love to use this as an unusually precise way to help, damaged veterans, 270,000 of whom have suffered traumatic brain injuries, which have caused them to have, very debilitating memory loss, even since the year 2000. And there's very, very few therapy options to help people like this. So the research project for that is actually called Restoring Active Memory, or RAM, and it's designed around the belief that no matter how sweet or how disturbing, every memory is formed in the same way through a sequential action of many neurons. And when you have a traumatic injury, a brain injury or a military injury that's happened, to your head from, an explosion, it disturbs that sequence. So the memory function becomes blocked. So, imagine if the scientists could follow computer programs of the memory process they've developed and use very tiny implants to work around a damaged area to send signals, so that the neurons would move farther along in the circuit. That's the goal of this program. It's going to involve many teams from 3 different institutions in the U.S., the University of California, UCLA, the University of Pennsylvania, and the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, and each one is going to have its own focus to be a part of this group. So they'll each be sort of developing different parts of this technology to work together. The UCLA, team is going to concentrate on what's the entorhinal area of the brain, which is the gateway to hippocampus, which is the brain region that's most associated with learning and memory. Imagine if they could strengthen that, right? Even for children and people with learning disabilities, if they could strengthen that. People that tested low, that would be incredible just to, brightening the future of the youth of our country. In a lot of ways, they don't always get the same education, or we don't seem to be as smart as, I hate to say that, some of the other countries around us, over the past 25 years, which is really a shame. So, maybe they could help. Maybe they could help with that. It also, the hippocampus area of the brain also turns daily existence into memories. So, they're also going to use data from the electrodes, which they've already implanted on epilepsy patients. So that's going to help them develop a computer model of how the neurons in that part of the brain communicate. I just think this is fascinating, all this stuff that they're doing. I'm going to actually have to learn even more about this because it's just crazy. And they say, when you're working with the brain, you have to keep slapping yourself in the face as a reality check because we still understand really so little about it. And apparently, right now is the time. They're just making incredible leaps and bounds in this area, and this kind of research has never happened before. And I don't know if it's happening in other countries. It doesn't say, but hey, I hope that we're at the forefront of this. I really do, because this is something so incredible. It could just help people everywhere, and God, $40 million is a lot of money. We're going to have to check back and see where they're going with this. So what do you think? What do you think?
I think it's a pretty interesting concept of what they're doing and what they're capable of doing anymore. However, like I said before, I think the government can use that against the American people, and we're going to wind up having just a bunch of fucking soldiers out there. It's going to be all fucked up.
Or what are they going to do?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. It's like, think about it, though. What are they going to do? Maybe are they going to take targeted groups of maybe military guys for, underground research testing on this kind of thing? Maybe they're going to change something in their brain that makes them want to be very militant and, killing machines. Who knows?
Well, they're going to turn them into obedient soldiers.
Yep. And imagine how fucked up that's going to be for them when they get out, or if they ever get out, of their service. As difficult as it is for veterans now, imagine if they were fucking with your brain. I can't even go there with that. That's so crazy. It is.
That kind of takes away free will.
It totally takes away free will. And it totally is like in the movies. They're saying they can take out parts of your memory. They can put memory back. That's insane. I mean, that's really insane. I can't even imagine what else they're learning about the brain while they're in there, doing that. I mean, pretty soon are we going to be able to plug in and take that mental vacation in our mind where we feel like we were really there and have fake memories from that, too? I mean, it's wild.
I would take a vacation.
I would totally take a vacation. I would totally pay for that. But that's wild. It's some wild shit. What do you think, Dominic?
Well, what I think about it is, it's crazy interesting, and the science behind it is outrageous. But I don't think that I would do it, because who knows what they're capable of doing, and from behind a computer to running your life, they can turn you into a robot, and you won't even know it.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, there was things on that I've seen on Facebook, and I've researched and everything, that they were going to put a chip in your hand, and they wanted you to, to try to track you. I mean, they're turning you into a human cell phone. If you look at it, they want to control every aspect of your life. I don't think it's appropriate. I mean, I don't know. Other people think differently. Plus, what happens if that thing ever fails inside your hand or inside your brain, and then you're walking along one day, and boom, and that's it. And, nothing's perfect inside a cell phone. Electronics fail. Yeah. You're trying to keep yourself healthy, but if, a piece of electronics is implanted in your head or inside your hand, and that fails, say you're working and you hit your hand hard enough with a hammer, and that thing breaks, you don't know about it, and then a day later, you're laying in the hospital, and they don't know why. Yeah, I look at it that way, because anything can happen to a TV, can break, a phone, you drop a phone, it cracks.
Yeah.
It's that simple and that delicate that something may happen, to the point that you don't know. And they want to control every aspect of your life. Big Brother, they put cameras all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
In New Jersey, they're all over the place. You can't even take a walk without somebody looking at you. And, you see how people are on, like Google Earth. And you if you Google Earth on YouTube, and they have these visions of people taking videos of people waving, and of Area 51, they have all these different views, and I don't know how true it is, because, today's day and age in electronics, everybody can make any type of video they want from any app. There's billions of apps out there that can make anything. Nothing's really, really real, but you never know either. On the other side of the coin, that, okay, it might be real. So you don't know. But me as an individual personally, it's my opinion that I would never do that. I wouldn't want somebody implanting anything inside of me. I'm sorry.
No.
If I win the lottery, yeah. If I could pick lottery numbers, sure. Put it in my head. I don't care where you put it. Make me a billionaire, sure. But, if you're going to put something inside my head to try to track what I'm doing for the rest of my life, no. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And, you just never know. Anytime you're going for surgery, you don't know. I don't even know what they are, some kind of big discs in my neck. I've got metal strips. I've got screws in my shoulder. Who the hell knows what other shit's in there? I don't know. But, yeah, that whole thing with putting a chip in your hand, that made me think, what's that movie that Justin Timberlake did where they have everybody separated into different different, social groups, and different levels of, how much money you had and, demographics, You know what I mean? And like when you ran out of time, you just died in that movie. Did you guys see that movie?
I don't think so.
And he had an implant. I'm gonna figure out I'm gonna find out what it is and send it to you. But it makes me think of that. You know, who the hell knows what they could do? All right. Well, Jay, you want to do the next story?
Absolutely. Interest in the purchase of allegedly haunted buildings has been on the increase in recent years. All right. Traditionally, guys tend to avoid purchasing houses in which someone has died in or which there has been a history of strange occurrences. Yet real estate agents have recently seen a surge of interest in the buying of such properties due to their potential haunted nature. There are buyers out there that think it's cool to own a home that may have a ghost, said real estate agent Cindy Hagley, who specializes in the sale of so-called stigmatized properties, particularly popular or older houses with a long history of supernatural occurrences. Right now, we're in the seller's market in almost all Northern California, she said. You can have a dead body swinging from the chandelier, and I'm still going to have 10 offers on the phone. According to the recent survey, 62% of Americans would consider buying a house that is alleged to be haunted, while 35% believe that they have already lived in one home at some point that has been haunted.
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely the house that I had in Florida was definitely haunted. There's, no doubt about it. I wasn't the only one to experience it. 4 different people ended up living there over a period of time, one of them being my daughter. And, I had a couple of different, a boyfriend, a roommate, the whole thing. Everybody that lived there had that experience. But I would totally, and I totally think we should go in on that, Jay, and let's just buy a haunted building. Let's just do that, because I would totally do that. Fuck yeah, I'm up for that. And, I even looked at one time, there's this restaurant down in Georgia that, like, everybody that opens a restaurant there abandons it. It's happened a couple of times. And there's a whole story about it, and I was like, crap, I want to buy that place. I'm not a chef, but love to own a place like that. Or I would love to buy some old place in New Orleans and make it into a B&B, that had good activity in it. God, a couple of years back even, there was a guy, it's a huge, it's a true story, a guy killed his girlfriend in their apartment down there, and, in most places, nobody would buy that place. Not only did he kill her, but he ended up, like, cooking her, by body parts in pots, and it's a whole horrible story. But, people are lining up to buy places like that there. Like, you can get a good offer on a place like that, even though something horrible happened there. It's crazy. But, yeah, I think so much...
I like the idea now.
They do, because, so much paranormal activity is becoming more mainstream now. It would depend. Like, I wouldn't buy that apartment that guy horrifically murdered his girlfriend in. Like, I'm not really interested in that kind of a place, but I would buy, like, an older, like a Victorian home or, something along that line, or a small, B&B, something like that I would be interested in buying. If I thought it was haunted. I think that would be really, really cool.
I think it would be awesome to live in a house that may have some pretty cool activity in it. I have my own friends, I guess you can say. I would not feel... you lived in a house that had a lot of activity too, growing up. And growing up, it wasn't the house with me. It's, I was attracting spirits to myself. It wasn't the house for sure. But I know that you lived in that house for quite some time, and you didn't mind it. No, it wasn't scary for you. You were interested in it, and that's when you were first learning about investigating. But I would totally do that again. And I did not know that there were real estate agents that specialized in this sort of thing. Did you know that? I had no idea.
Me either. I don't know where you'd find one. What do we do? Just go online and Google who's selling haunted properties, or real estate haunted, and see what comes up, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, how do you know that it's haunted? Can you go there and do a little investigation for a night before you make an offer? Who knows, right?
That would be cool.
Yeah. You know what? I think that should be a requirement. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, if you're going to buy a place and they're saying that there's activity there, I want to spend the night there. I want to check that out before I make an offer. Totally.
I got to get evidence.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. And I don't think anybody, I bet you nobody does that either. I think they should, though.
And this lady had a dream, and what happened was it came true. She was in the woods. She had a really big amount of property, and she was living her dream in reality. And her cat, she was walking in the back to get her cat, and her cat was dead. But to the point that, yes, her house was haunted, and she was dreaming about everything. But I would love to do it, too. I mean, the way it is that I watch everything, it's interesting because I don't see how these people just move into a house and then they find out it's haunted, and then they wonder, they stay there, and then they wonder why, when they call for like an exorcism and everything. Why do they stay there? Like, if you're scared enough to be scared at that point, why don't you just leave? Yeah, I mean, when I would do it, I would definitely buy a haunted house. I think it's it's definitely interesting to me.
Yeah, I wanted to hear what you were going to say, but I wasn't so sure that you would. So that's cool.
I think it's unbelievable how to research the past life is so interesting. Is how it happens. The science behind it is incredible. It's fascinating. I don't even understand how people can just, and I watch all these shows, and they have all these devices and everything, and they hear stuff, and then they record it, and they're like, oh my God, I don't want to watch this, this is scary. It's not scary. It's interesting. It's science. Science is incredible. I tell you what, I'll call you guys every week. This is, the science behind it, I'm a big science fan, I tell you right now. I watch the Science Channel constantly. That's why I don't watch the news no more, because it gets me sick. And the Science Channel, at least you're learning something, And with all the paranormal stuff is they have, on the Science Channel, have a Discovery on history, all them different shows are, I don't know, I'm just fascinated. The bottom line.
You're going to have to go, you're out there, you're a few hours away from Jason, but I know that Jason does do some events, and of course, DTM Wicked Radio also hosts some really nice events sort of out your way. You should definitely go to something, out in that area when they have something happening up in New York.
I would definitely love to. I mean, it's, what it is. When I first started watching those shows, it was scary. I was like, oh my God, how do these people sitting in this house all night? And they just, all this stuff is happening, and they're just standing there, and they're walking to it. They're walking around like they're not. I'm like, oh my God. But then once you start really looking at it in a scientific fashion, oh my God, what I just see here, or what I feel, what that cold feeling, or whatever. But then once you really get into it and you start thinking scientifically, it's fascinating. It's totally fascinating to me. I tell you what, I'm sober 2 years. I haven't drank in 2 years. I had my operation and gallbladder and all that stuff removed. And since then, I have been getting, into all this scientific stuff a lot more, and it's very fascinating. And I want to get into it some more because I want to learn more about it. I want to do something before I get too old and I can't,
Right.
I'll definitely pick you up one weekend and take you out.
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be fun. That'd be cool.
I'll let you play with all the cool gadgets and you can just run wild.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely would have to bring. And a friend of mine that I take with me when we do the toxic stuff, my friend Joe Marone, he would definitely love to do it too. He's into all that stuff, and he's actually, helping me out with a lot of stuff. And I really would like to get involved more. And all right, of course, you guys have been, obviously into it a lot, and you know what's going to happen, and exactly you can do this and do that, and because that movie I made was awesome when I was a kid, but that's 30 years ago. It's, 30 years ago doesn't really doesn't help me out now at 42.
Well,
So.
it's a cult classic, though. It's a cult classic, and I mean,
It is.
there's groups in your area, Dominic. We definitely need to ask online who's got a group that might be looking for members, that would take you out, and you should totally go with Jason. But there's got to be groups in your area that are maybe taking on new members or looking for people, and you might want to hook up with one of them, to learn more about it as well. I'm sure they'd be glad to have you.
Yes, I would definitely love to do it. Because what it is, it's more of just meeting new people, getting around, doing stuff that's very interesting with science, and it's like I said. I posted a couple days ago that I'm just sick of living in Nutley, and it's just annoying because it's the same people, the same stuff going on. There's nothing interesting anymore. When you're a kid, it's like everything's wow. Now it's just like
Don't we know it?
Yeah. So now it's like it's. I see all this stuff going on with your pages and everything, and it's been interesting. And I'm watching science, and I sit home and watch the Science Channel. It's when they have all these crazy shows on about like space and the planets and all this other stuff. The asteroids are going to hit the Earth, and it's like, oh my God, it's fascinating. And I want to do more, and I want to get involved and meet new people and go around and do stuff, because sitting home and working is just enough. It's just I got to do something else, because I see how people just go to work and they go home. I don't know how they do it without having any kind of break in their life, that they're going to enjoy their life. You know what I'm trying to say? It's not just going to work, coming home every day of the week. And, so people are going to have to go crazy after a while. You have to do something with yourself. I have to do something with myself. I want to get out there. I want to explore. Even though it's going to scare the crap out of me. Okay, but you know what, though? When I was getting rushed to the hospital, that was actually worse. So I look at it that way. I got to do something now. I'm here for a reason on the phone. It's not just because I was invited by Jodi. It's not because of the fact that I'm on Facebook. Something's dragging me to here. And, I have to do it. I got to do it. And I want to do it. Definitely.
Awesome.
I mean, the transportation situation is a little bit difficult at this point. But I'm sure we can arrange some type of situation here to try to help out,
Oh, definitely. We'll figure it out.
We know.
I go to Jersey a lot. I don't live that far from Jersey, actually. I'm literally 45 minutes away from Suffolk.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, you live in New York, I think, right? I think I've seen...
Yeah, I live in New York. I live not too far past the city. I'm about an hour and a half away from the city. But Suffolk County is 45 minutes away. I can be down in... I was just down almost by... I was down a little bit past Camden a couple weeks ago picking my daughter up. That's like 2.5, 3 hours away.
Yeah, that's far. That's way down there. Yeah, I live in Nutley, so it's to New York. It's only maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour with traffic and stuff. But it's interesting though. I definitely want to get involved. I'll definitely do it.
Awesome.
That definitely sounds great, Jason. I would like to do that and get involved. And the first night I would have to stick near you because you look like a big guy. And I would definitely have to, be alert. But I would definitely love to do it, to get out and do something, because, like I said, it's super fascinating. Science is, what can I say? Science is incredible. It's just totally, totally incredible. And, all this paranormal science and ghost science and all it's fascinating. And if I'm going to get the opportunity to learn more about it, then yeah, man, definitely, I'm down. I would definitely do it, because you guys definitely are you guys rock. That's all I got to say. And it's definitely very interesting that I can sit here and be on the phone and be on the radio at the same time. And it's, you know, with all your listeners are listening to me right now, and they know I'm from the Toxic Avenger, maybe we can, you know, get some more activity going with, you know, what's it called, with them trying to get more activity with exposure with me, you know, and put me on their websites, and maybe someone will pick me up.
Well, let's talk about that, Dominic. Well, you know, tell us a little bit about making the movie, and tell us what they were doing recently with it. And I know that you're planning to hopefully be at the upcoming New York Comic-Con, right? At the
in New York, yes, at the Javits Center.
At the Javits Center, yeah.
Yes, what it is I'm, you know what? I didn't hear nothing yet, but it's still early. It's in October. I think it's the 9th through the 12th at the Javits Center in New York, and I'm hoping to. I didn't hear nothing yet. A friend of mine, Joe, is still actually taking care of that. He's actually waiting for them to call, but I'm going to go and sign autographs, and you know. Because at that type of venue, it's for me to be there is going to be huge. People are going to go nuts.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, oh my God, Skippy from the Toxic Avenger is going to be. We're going. You know, it's outrageous. And like I said, when I was we just did the venue over at the Darris Theater on August 1st. Actually,
right.
Was
that your relaunch of the movie?
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I thought it was. I was on stage, actually, introducing it. I did a Q&A with the fans, and afterwards I signed autographs, the posters that you've seen that I posted. Yeah, it was amazing. And wonderful because in the setting, in the Darris Theater, it was built, I think, in 1910 or something like that. And it was really cool because I kind of feel like they put the new mastered one up. It wouldn't have been that nostalgic. It wouldn't have been just the Toxic Avenger like it was when they first. It was the first version that they made. It wasn't no special stuff. They just threw it on, and it was amazing. And the fans were cool. And everybody signed. When I got out, I was outside of the vestibule, and everybody was buying the stuff from the trauma team. And they were coming up with posters, and they wanted me to sign them and everything. And I just actually, Friday, I autographed a poster, and I sent it to my friend in South Carolina. He's going to hang it up in his restaurant out there.
Awesome.
Yes, it's incredible. And he actually received it today. And, yeah, I mean, my movie was great. I filmed it in Jersey City. I was 12 years old when I filmed it.
Wow.
And it took me all night because I was on the ground, and I kept laughing because, as you see in my scene, the girl coming down that played my sister, she was coming down as my sister. She said, "Don't forget your helmet, Skippy." But I kept laughing because I was a young kid, and I'm not an actor. So I was at that point, I was like, wow, you know. But then I just got to the point that it was getting late, and they said, you got to, you know, pay attention here. So I was like, okay, cool. So I actually did it, and then the makeup and all the special effects of when I was laying on the ground crawling, and then they had to do the other section of the makeup and everything when they ran my head over, the crushing sound, which made it sound realistic. And it took all night because the camera angles, they have to keep throwing the more blood, and they, you know, I fell asleep when the girls got out of the car after they ran my head over. They were taking pictures.
Right.
I could hear everything that's going on, but I was sleeping because I couldn't move, and I was on the ground for a tremendous amount of hours because they had to keep doing different angle shots. And it was crazy because I was on the ground, and once I was there, I woke up, and it was daytime. It was in the morning, very early. And I took them another maybe 3 hours, 4 hours to take all the makeup off my face. They had a skull cap over my head, and it took forever to take the makeup off, as long as it took to put it on. And then to be walking around with all that stuff on, and then filming my scene, it was great. I mean, I would do it again tomorrow if I had the chance. If somebody gave me a chance to be actually in another movie, I would do it again. I wish I could. I mean, I'm older now.
Get an agent.
So have you ever gone to any other tryouts or anything like that to get casted or anything else?
No, you know what it is? I never actually, I don't know where to go, to be honest. I don't know how to get involved. I mean, I know I want to get hit. Yeah, there is a lot of people out here, and actually, it's funny because now that I'm thinking about it, a friend of mine hooked me up with another gentleman that was looking for another actor, and I spoke with him actually August 13th, and he was telling me that, he needs somebody and he's only doing a small portion of a movie, and it's in New Jersey. He's going to film it in Montclair, New Jersey, and he wants me to be in it as a security guard. So, okay, cool. I mean, I'll do it. I mean, it's exposure. It's not really, I'm not going to get really paid for it, but I'm not looking for that at this point because the exposure is actually more important to get out there. And
it can be.
But he said he sells the stuff. Once he sells it, things might turn around, which is awesome. I mean, anything could happen. I'm very optimistic. I can't sit back and say, no, forget it, because you're not going to get nowhere. I could have said, Jodi, no, you know what, I don't want to call. And then what? And then who knows who's listening right now? I got to be optimistic and say, yes, this person might want me. This person might be on the phone right now. This person might be listening. So I got to be like that, because if not,
I knew you were going to call.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been looking forward to it. I really have. This is incredible. I can't wait to hear the playback.
And I have to put this out there too, so I don't forget. Because this was my idea, so I'm just going to lock you into this now. If you go to Comic-Con, while you're there, everyone remember that Dominic is single. Okay.
Yes.
He's very single. He's looking to meet a sexy, nerdy Comic-Con girl who is all about it. And what he's going to do, because I said so, he's going to have a raffle, and he's raffling off dinner or lunch with Skippy.
Yes.
You are doing it.
Yes, we spoke about that. I remember. That was a very long conversation. And the ideas you gave me were just outstanding. So, sure, definitely. I'm going to remember that, and I'm going to have my friend Joe work on all that and get everything situated. And I will definitely take care of that. That's an excellent idea, Jodi. You're just outstanding.
Thank you. And you know what you do? When Joe is selling the raffle tickets, because I know he's going to be there, you give him like a special little yellow marker, and when the hot girls buy a ticket, you make sure that you mark that one.
Oh yeah, highlight it. I'm going to have a lot of highlights. And you know what? If they want, they can take a look at my Skippy from the Toxic Avenger page and like the page, and also like Team Skippy. And they can friend request me if they want, any of your fans. I would like that too. Then go ahead. I'm on Facebook now if they want to go ahead and hit Skippy up now. I would like that. That would be cool. And then they can actually, I have a group. It's actually the group of Skippy from the Toxic Avenger, fans from the Toxic Avenger. And I would, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a group, and everybody. I got a lot of my videos on there that I made. That they made from Toxic Avenger. All my different stuff and everything. They can look at pictures and everything. It's from the Dallas Theater. It's really cool. I mean, I have these 3 pages on here, and people are like, boom, boom, boom. When I was on the Dallas Theater, my phone was nonstop. And people were, all I heard was bing, bing, bing. Everybody was just like, oh, my God. I got like 200 and something fans on Skippy from the Toxic Avenger, and every day I look and there's activity, and it's incredible. And they can hit me up right now, and they can go to that page, and I'm actually going to share it right now, just in case anybody wants to see it. They can share it and, blow it up. And I want to see 1,000 fans on that page. Not just 246. I want to see 1,000, and then more. And then I want to see somebody say, "Listen, I want you to meet me in my office. I want to talk to you about making a movie." There's so many plugs I can do right now, and I appreciate the time. I mean, this is great. you know.
Oh, happy. How long did it take you to film the Toxic Avenger?
It took me probably all night. I got there early because I wanted to be on set in Jersey City, New Jersey, and I got there early with my family. My mother and father were there, and my brother Louis, and they had a lot of talking to do because they had to tell me what to do, obviously, and how to do everything. But it took me probably about 12 hours for that 5-minute part because, like I said, they had to keep changing the makeup and they had to keep switching over to different scenes. Like for me, like, okay, you're gonna veer. When I was riding the bike, I had to veer off, and the stuntman had to jump in, and he had to go over the car. Then they stopped the film. Then they got me laying on the ground with all the makeup again. Then once that little scene was over, they had to stop again and put on the head makeup to make it look like I got my head ran over. So yes, it took all night, just all different shots, all different makeup and special effects, and the way to lay and not to move, and it was incredible. And what it was crazy because even though it was a little part, and like I mentioned it in my interview with Lloyd Kaufman at Trauma in New York, for just that little part, nobody realizes, once you're really there and you're actually filming and you're on set, you really know what's going on, and you can really see actually how it's made and how long it takes and how, like, what you have to do to be involved. And it took me 12 hours all night, different shots, different makeup. All right, Dominic, you have to just move a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left, or you have to, when you're on your bike, you've got to look this way. I mean, there was so much involved. It wasn't just me riding the bike, okay, throwing the makeup and laying on the ground.
Right.
And I was young. I was a young kid, so everything that was happening at that point I didn't know what was going on. I was like flabbergasted. And I was like, okay, all right, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, okay, sure. All right, no problem, Lloyd. No problem, Michael Hers. He was the director. I mean, the producer, and Lloyd Kaufman was the director. And they had to keep telling me all different angles to move. Do you have to move this way, Dominic? Make sure you do this. When the car's coming towards you, you got to make sure that you veer off. You got to do this once you veer off, or you're going to lay on the ground. You're going to crawl. We're going to put makeup on you. Oh my God, it was nuts. But I tell you what, guys, I would do it again tomorrow if I heard that tomorrow and said, listen, you're coming with me. Boom, I would get dressed quicker than you would get on the radio and be on set. I would do it so fast. It would be incredible.
Sure. You just have to get yourself back out there. Get an agent. Get yourself back out there. I mean, that's what you have to do. Just get it going on. You will. And going to the Comic-Con will be great for you too, I'm sure.
Oh yes, definitely will. The exposure is going to be incredible. I am going to be just flabbergasted because that is going to be a gigantic venue. I went there years ago for a car show, and the place is huge. I can imagine what Comic-Con's going to be like if I do get accepted. And what I'm going to do is after that, I'm going to get headshots made.
Right,
and,
you'll get accepted.
Make a profile. So I'm going to have a profile of my pictures of my head and pictures of myself, like from a professional photographer.
Yeah.
And I want to take that and say, okay, if I can go to somebody and say, here's my profile, take a look. Boom, there you go. And pictures of me when I was in the movie and this and that, and I got so many plans for this.
Yeah, that's all you need. And it's not that expensive to get a new headshot. If you've got something to sign at the event, you'll have a great time, I'm sure. That's awesome.
Yes, I'm super excited about it. Definitely, guys. Super, super excited. And I want to get involved more because it's definitely I'm a young guy now, and I'm being sober for 2 years. Everything's happening, so there's a reason for it, and I'm being dragged into acting, I think, and it's awesome. I can't ask for a better life. I mean, you know, you guys put me on the radio. I was already with taking care of the stuff with trauma again after 30 years, and you know, it's definitely outrageous. I want to get more involved with, you know, the scientific paranormal lifestyle and do more science with you guys and get more involved than just being on the radio, because like I said, you guys are interesting, you're very outgoing, you know, so it's definitely the way I want to do stuff and meet new people and stuff like that. It's definitely a great idea. And you know, what we can do is offline. I can give you my my information and my phone numbers and stuff like that, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely give me offline. You can send me all of your information, and I'll see what I can do, and I'll definitely do what I can to get you out there and investigate, and like I said, let you run around with
with all the toys, and gotta make sure somebody's with me too, because I mean, I'm older now, and I'll probably, if something does, God forbid, happen, I'll probably laugh, because I'll be like, wait a minute, what, are you kidding me? Bro, I grew up in where I'm Italian, so I'll be like, bro, what, are you kidding me, dude? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, reality, it's not that scary. I've been doing it for a long time. Yeah. And you would think it's scary. You really, really would. But it's not. I mean, let's get past that one. That's going There's nothing big. And that's what, I mean, that's after a while. That's what it becomes like.
Definitely want to do it. Yeah, that sounds awesome, man. Definitely.
Our next guest is now calling in, so before we cut to a commercial break, why don't you get all the information out and you know, let everyone know how they can contact you if there may be someone, you know, looking for, you know, people to attend events now that, you know, might be listening in and might contact you. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely. You can look me up at Skippy from the Toxic Avenger page on Facebook. You can like the page there. You can also go to Team Skippy is on Facebook. You can like both pages, and fans from the Toxic Avenger, there's a group page on there, and you can hit me up at Dominic Calvito on Facebook and friend request me if you feel like talking about anything. And that's pretty much it. I mean, and like I'd like to say is thank you very much for the opportunity of calling in to you guys. That was really great. I had a great time, and I'm looking forward to meeting up with Jason and getting involved in the scientific paranormal.
Definitely.
Good.
Why don't we take it to break, Denny, and go from there?
All right, guys. All right, thank you very much, and I'll talk to you again. Okay, Jodi, thank you very much. Take care, guys.
Awesome.
All right, bye-bye. All right, bye.
And I've already had people ask me how to find him on Facebook, on my Facebook page.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That'll be cool, getting him involved in the paranormal side of things. That'll be pretty interesting.
It will, and I knew that he was really interested in it, so, I think you guys will have a... Hello.
You got to give it up to Jodi. Yes, you do. But we now have Richard in the house. He's going to talk about some of his experiences and the things that he's done, which should be interesting as well. So I'll let you take it from there.
So tell us all about yourself, Richard.
Well, like I say, I do work in woodworking, and some of it like small engine mechanic work, but most of my work is in computers. I restore and rebuild old stuff, like the vintage vinyl record players and stereos from the 70s and 80s. I rebuild computers, and the most recent thing I rebuilt was an old Atari 2600, and I'm sure both of you remember those.
Oh, yeah.
I have one that I restored to mint condition. And
nice.
a lot of people consider that to be an amazing feat because I have two conditions. I have two disabilities, one of which is potentially deadly. It's called hydrocephalus, which stands for water on the brain.
Oh.
And one of the things that actually got me into paranormal was not just what I was saying before about the house fire and that, but a number of times when I went in for surgeries for the shunt I had in my head and for corrective surgeries on my leg, any number of those times I actually died on the operating table and literally went to the other side.
Really?
Oh, wow. Well, I want to hear about that.
Definitely. We definitely got to hear more about that.
Where in May of 2009, I was actually, the paramedics went and they busted my door down when I lived above a music store in May of 2009. And they basically said that according to, after they revived me, they did an assessment on me and they said that I had been dead for approximately 49 minutes.
That's a long time.
Holy crap. That's a long
time.
So
I should not have been retrievable, but I was.
Wow. That's impressive.
But for a long time, I had the burn marks on my chest from the paddles where they had to shock me.
Yeah. Oh, what did you see when you get to the other side, when you got there?
It's really hard to describe, but, I did see a lot of loved ones and everything, and I heard this voice that seemed to come from all around me telling me that I needed to go back because my work here wasn't done yet and it wasn't my time, that I still had a lot left to do. And they basically told me that my father wasn't long for this world, and when he would die, that I would basically have to continue things where he left off.
Okay. And what is it that your dad does?
Well, my dad, he was in the process of taking and he was trying to locate different model cars that he had built from years ago. We lost those in the house fire. And we lost his model shelves, which he hand-built back in 1978. He built a very, very ornate set of shelves, and I actually have a side-by-side comparison on my profile of the original shelves and the duplicates that I built. But what I'm doing as a tribute to him, and a lot of people think it's actually, they tell me, get out of the past and, you shouldn't have done this. But what I'm doing is I built an exact duplicate of the shelves, and I'm going on eBay and other sites, and I'm getting the different model cars that he built and rebuilding them, and I'm going to put them back on the shelves in the exact order they were before the house fire ever happened.
Oh, wow. That's fun. That's a fun project.
Oh, definitely. When did the house fire happen?
February 1st, 1991. I'll never forget it because I was in my room. I was sitting on my knees. I was putting new AA batteries into my CD player because I was going to go out walking. And then just as I put the batteries and I was checking the CD, which I remember to this day which CD it was. It was Belinda Carlisle's Runaway Horses, and I queued up a song onto it. It was called We Want the Same Thing. And when it was 2 minutes and 5 seconds into the song, I heard this blood-curdling scream. I went running out of my room at a full tilt, and I come face to face with the kitchen, and a sauce pot was on the stove. Fire was coming straight up out of the sauce pot, and I saw the molding to the ceiling catch fire, and even above me. So I went running toward the open door, and the screen door was closed and it was latched. So what I did is I took my whole body and basically bashed myself into the screen door, knocking it off the hinges. And as I went running down the road looking for help, because I was going to my friend's house at 247 Beach Avenue, because we were 308, I was running down to 247 and sent him up with the fire extinguishers. But before I was even halfway between his house and mine, I heard an explosion, and I went and I looked in back of me, and the roof was blown right off the house.
Wow.
And the reason for that one was something my dad should not have done, because he had cans of gasoline, cans of propane, cans of kerosene. He had fireworks, M80s, you name it. He had them up in the attic, and when the fire went up into the attic, all that stuff detonated.
Nice.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
That's a lot of explosives.
Holy crap, it really is. I mean, he set himself up for that.
If you actually go onto my paranormal page, Facebook.com, SBI, 1993 SBI, you go on there and look for where it says about the original SBI headquarters. It shows you what the house looked like before the fire and after the rebuilding. You can clearly see it's the same house.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely.
Check that out. Sounds like
Definitely. So, what kind of paranormal experiences have you encountered since that fire?
Like I said, there was the incident with the trim line phone I was telling you about, because we went in to clear out a lot of the debris, and my father had brought a gas compressor in there for it to light our way and everything, and we were like putting all ceiling tiles and whatever else have you into bags, and he was actually putting all his melted models, his model cars that were melted, putting them into bags and putting the rubble from the original shelves into the bags. And that, even though he had told me a grown man shouldn't cry, here he was standing with a trash bag in one hand and his models in the other hand, and he was just bawling his eyes out because he worked for years on those.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to let things.
Yeah, I'm sure.
While we were doing that, the phone rang. It was an old AT&T phone. Matter of fact, I've got a picture of that on my paranormal page where you can see the fire damage to the phone.
Yeah.
But that phone ended up ringing, and I picked it up, and it was my grandmother, and she wanted to let us know, according to what she was saying, she wanted to let us know that she was okay, and she was also apologizing for not being able to make Christmas dinner, make it to where we were having Christmas dinner, because she died December 23rd, 1989. And then here we are, February 4th of 91, cleaning the house out, and all of a sudden phone rings and she's on the other end. And, my father didn't believe me at first, so I'm giving the phone. And he went, pardon the pun here, but he went white as a ghost.
Really?
Wow.
Because he didn't believe me, and then when he found out that it was her, and we basically talked with her, and the thing is, the reason why I think she ended up calling in that house is because when she died on December 23rd of 1989, she was found dead in that house, face down. She died in the hallway of that house before the fire.
Really?
Yeah, she died December 23rd, 1989. Then they resuscitated her, got her back to the hospital, and she died again later that night.
Yeah. Have you documented any of the paranormal experiences?
I actually have a lot of it on floppy disk, but right now the floppy disks are in storage, and I also have records of it on, I'm sure you're familiar with the pre-internet bulletin board systems.
Yeah.
BBSs. Well, I actually had a BBS where I had a lot of my stuff on it, too.
Yeah.
So I'm working on getting that computer back from my mother, because that computer contains a lot of valuable information pertaining to that.
Interesting.
And I've gone to different cemeteries in New Jersey, like the Riverside Cemetery in Toms River and the Holy Cross Cemetery over in North Arlington, where my grandfather's buried. as well as the Linden Center Cemetery in Vermont, where my father's buried, and I've explored places over there. And I'll tell you, there were several areas where the hairs on my arms and the back of my neck stood up.
Oh, yeah.
Because me, having been dead a few times myself, I've actually become highly sensitive to the presence of, of spirits and that, even during the daytime.
Really?
A lot of people. I hear a lot of people that have had near-death experiences saying that they feel that they're much more sensitive to spirits once you've had a near-death experience. I think that's. I don't want to say that it's everyone, but I hear that it's pretty common. I mean, right, Jason?
I agree. I've heard many stories from mostly a lot of psychics.
Yeah.
Experiences, and for some odd reason, whenever that experience happens, that sixth sense tends to kick in, and they wind up having these premonitions and all kinds of other weird stuff. So yeah, it is pretty common to have some kind of ability after a near-death experience.
Just like my ex-girlfriend, she used to think that I was taking and basically blowing smoke about it, but I actually have the stereo system that was in the house when the house fire happened. I have my father's old stereo system that was in the house when the house fire happened, and there's actually something connected with it that whenever she and I would sit in this room and we would end up, my ex and I, when we were still going out, when she and I would start fighting or something like that, the turntable of the stereo would stop spinning in mid-record. And then when we would make up with each other, then it would start spinning again. And I came out and I told her, I said to her, you know who's doing that, right? And she's like, who? I said, my father's doing that because every time we argue, he'll put his hand down on the record to stop it, because when he was alive and he and my mother used to argue, he would put his hand down on the record and stop it.
Interesting.
To make his point, to lay his hand down on the record when he and my mother were arguing and stop it. And then after he died, when she and I would argue, the same thing would happen. And the one day I went and I looked at the one record, and she's like, prove to me that he's actually putting his hand on that record. I said, to hold that record up to the light and angle it away from you a little bit. I said, whose handprint is that? She goes, well, it's not yours. It's too big. I said, that's my father's handprint.
Interesting.
His handprint was on the record.
Now, was this an old record from that time where he could have touched it previously, you know what I mean, and left oils from his hands, or was this a new record from,
This is actually a record that I went and I bought it while I was here in Rhode Island. I bought it here at Savers.
Okay, so it wasn't something that he could have touched or anything like that. Oh, that's cool. That's pretty neat. I mean, did you try to sort of, I don't know, I would have maybe tried to, I hate to say, put like powder or something on it to even get a better look at it. I know you don't really want to do that to your vinyl.
I did something rather unique. I had billiard chalk, and I went and I used the back of a knife, and I scraped some of the billiard chalk onto the record.
Okay, that would definitely be the similar effect, yeah. Did you get pictures of it, or?
No, I didn't. But the one thing that I do have pictures of, I should post them on my paranormal page. But what I was telling you about that space heater that I had when I was living in Gardner, Mass, I had just bought it, and then the very, I think it was either that night or the next day, a child's handprint appeared inside the heater.
Yeah, that's strange. Yeah, and do you not have any small children or anything like that?
No, we didn't have small children. But the funny thing was, before that happened, I saw somebody looking at me when I was at my computer in Gardner, Massachusetts. When I was at my computer, I saw this little kid that she looked to be about maybe 9 or 10 years old, and she was dressed in stuff that looked like it was from back in the 1800s. And then when that spirit appeared, I looked over towards the space heater, and their handprints were inside the heater.
Yeah.
Oh, that is cool. That is interesting.
I still have that heater now, and I can
Have you ever used gear or any kind of equipment to try to document these experiences?
Well, the only things that I really have, I have night vision goggles, and I have a Sony, kind of like a Sony Handycam type of deal that has, I guess you'd call it like night vision technology. I bought it off of not Facebook, but I bought it off of eBay.
Mhm.
And I have other things too that measures like EVPs and stuff like that.
Right.
Like certain meters and stuff, because I had gone to something last year, the beginning of last year, and I learned I learned more about the different devices that were out there because I already had some of them.
Right. Where did you go? Did you take a ghost hunting 101 course? Or, I mean, what did you do?
I just went by myself, and
Okay.
I went with another group. I'm not going to mention that group's name.
Oh, okay.
It's not worth. But basically, I went with them, and I helped them out, and then later on, I ended up getting stabbed in the back. So because I'm just. Huh?
So you went along with them so that they could sort of, you were like a new investigator. So you went along with them so that they could sort of teach you the ropes.
I was already established. But what I did, I went with them, and I had a button making machine that I brought, and they had logos all designed up, and I made buttons for them to sell. And I never got 1 cent from it, even though I was using my materials to take and make the buttons for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see.
But one of the things that I employ in a lot of my paranormal investigations that a lot of people don't even think of nowadays, but it's been a tried and true thing, and I'm sure you guys have actually heard of them and seen them used in paranormal investigations, a Polaroid SX70 camera.
I haven't used one in a long time.
No, I don't. I don't. I'm familiar with it now.
They're the ones that they fold up flat.
Yeah.
And then to open it up, there's like the main camera is a big rectangle, then there's a smaller visor rectangle on top of it that you yank up on to bring the rest of the camera out.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't used one in a long time.
Well, I have one. It's an Polaroid SX70 Model 2, and it's fully functional. I get my film and everything. I get my film and filters off of a place called theimpossibleproject.com. And I get my film and everything from them, and I'll tell you one thing. That's the best way to document paranormal stuff because, I mean, if you think about it, if you're doing the images digitally, if anything happens, those images are lost. But if you have them on an SX70 film, they're there for good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of scary experiences have you encountered?
Well, let's just say that when I was living in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, I actually had several scary experiences there, which I can't even begin to describe. But I was wondering because when I would go walking around the trailer park, I always felt like something was following me. So I did my research on the park, and it turned out that the entire trailer park was actually sitting on top of an ancient Indian burial cemetery.
Ooh, I love that. That's cool. I would be so into that.
So these were all unmarked graves that were underneath all these trailers and everything.
Yeah.
Now, how did you find out? How did you find out about that? Yeah.
That scared the hell out of me.
Crazy. But I mean, did you do more research on that or look it up and do some history about it?
Actually, I did see some of the Indian spirits. I mean, I can't identify who they were.
Right.
But But I did see some of them there, and another place that I'm sure you probably heard about this one, but there was a tower years ago in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. There was a big communications tower that was standing for the longest time. And then after they took that and demolished the tower and knocked it down, there was on this field that was in Gettysburg, it was actually the Gettysburg battlefield that this communications tower was standing on. And when they knocked it down, then all these spirits started showing up. And me and my team actually did some work on that, finding out why they were showing up and everything. And even one other thing that was actually kind of odd was, even though the tower was gone, a ghostly form of it, when these spirits would show up, a ghostly form of that tower would be in the place it was originally.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah. And, you know, I've been in a lot of different haunted places. Just like there's actually, you probably have heard of it, because I made mention of where I lived in Gardner, Mass. And there's actually, I think it's either a haunted house or a haunted mansion that's there. That has been on the different, I think it was on Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures, something like that.
Oh.
It was on one that it was on there. There was like a mansion that people had died in. And it's like one of the premier haunted attractions of Gardner, Massachusetts.
I heard about some cool, interesting places in Gardner. I've never been there. I'd like to go there and check some of them out.
I'd like to go back there. I'd like to go back there myself, and I was thinking, you know, maybe if we all could maybe kind of connect on this and maybe plan something to where we could all go. It would just be a matter of transportation, because I don't drive because of my disability. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I have, ever since all this has happened, I've had a big love for the paranormal. I mean, Amityville got me interested in it. Poltergeist got me interested in it. Even the stuff that like one movie I saw recently, The Conjuring, even that fueled my interest in it even more.
Right.
Yeah. And I've had Andrea Perron on the show before, and she's such a wonderful woman.
I have met Andrea in person because we both lived over in Georgia, and like right when her book first came out, I went and spent some time with her and listened to her talk about her whole experience and the whole book. And this was way before the movie came out, but yeah, she's fantastic. She's a lovely, lovely person, and there's let me tell you, there is so much more to that story than you would ever even imagine. Different and so much more. You should read the book. It's a huge volume, but let me tell you, there's so much more interesting shit to that story that they would never even have time to put into the movie. And, you know, they had to put a twist on it and sensationalize it a little bit to make it all Hollywood. But the real story is better than the movie. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I agree. That they can actually be put in contact with, I believe her name is Lorraine Warren.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would love to be put in contact with her, because I would love to be able to sit down face to face with her and, get some insights from her and maybe call on some of her expertise in this,
Well,
she lives in Massachusetts.
She does, and she's on Facebook. You can connect with her on Facebook or LinkedIn, but I don't know that she mentors people anymore. Do you know what I mean? Or sits down with them. I don't know if she does that sort of thing. Do you, Jason? I don't think she does that anymore.
Yeah, a hard person to get a hold of in general.
Yeah.
I've heard several times, but she kind of tries to keep it low key now.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, I mean, she was low-key for a while until that movie, The Conjuring, came out, and then all of a sudden everything spiked again.
Television does that.
Just like she came out, and I think she said in an interview, I think I remember reading it in an interview, a written interview online, where she was actually involved in the investigation of the Amityville house, and she said that was one place that she would never set foot in again.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting because I hear so many different conflicting reports about the Amityville house. I actually was living with someone whose uncle owned that house for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Amityville house I lived near, that was the one in Jersey, in Tom's River, the filming house.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
One that appeared in the first three movies, Amityville, Amityville 2, and Amityville 3. That house is the one that I'm going to say, I mean, you guys could actually look it up to verify it, from Beechwood to Tom's River, but I think that was probably about 15, 20 minutes away.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice and close for you. Absolutely.
I mean, back when when me and my sisters, prior to living with my father, when he would take us on summers, the one time we actually went and we actually drove right up to the driveway of that house, and my dad knew the owners of it because of the fact that if you look in certain sections of the Amityville movie, you'll see, in the first movie, you'll see green and white striped tents sitting there. And if you look, you'll see in one section of the movie of the green and white tent, you'll see a guy with his hands wrapped around the pole, trying to push the pole into the ground. That's my father.
Oh.
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, it's in the
that's out your way.
So,
yeah.
It's in the scene. It's in the scene in there where they actually show a patrol car that actually has a tarp over it. But the reason there's a tarp over it is because it's a New Jersey patrol car, but they made a mistake in not putting the tarp on it correctly. So the license plate was peeking out from under the tarp, and you could clearly see it was a Jersey plate.
A little Hollywood screw up there.
That's all good. Hollywood fucks up a lot, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most people don't catch it, though. You know, if they're not from the area, they, who would know?
I think that's why that's so much fun, because, I mean, they should never have taken and remade it, because that's like what's his name did with the Halloween movies. He totally butchered them. He took them in a direction they were never meant to go.
Yeah, I liked the first few. I stopped watching them after a while, though. I have to agree with you there.
Yeah.
But I've taken, and I've met a number of celebrities over the years, and one that actually, I don't know how she found me on Facebook, but one of them was actually a cast member of MASH, and she was the one that played Nurse Kelly.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Have you set one that was always trying to get noticed by Hawkeye?
Yeah.
She actually got in touch with me because she heard of my story about my cerebral palsy and everything, and my hydrocephalus, and having almost died last year because the shunt I had in my head almost exploded.
Oh, God.
Yeah, because what it was is I was in my room, right here in this room, as a matter of fact, and I started getting headaches behind my eye and everything, and my legs were hurting, and I couldn't move them. And I dragged myself on my elbows. I dragged myself to my landlord's door and banged on it. And I said, I don't think I'm going to be over here much longer. I think I'm going to be heading out the door to the emergency room. And he's like, why is that? I said, because I have no motor control over my legs. It's gone.
Oh, wow.
They got me to the hospital, and they evaluated it. You know, the ambulance that got me to the hospital, they evaluated me there and found out that it wasn't an orthopedic injury that was making me immobile. It was actually neurological, because they did a scan on my shunt and found out that a critical piece of it was missing, and it was basically pulling cerebrospinal fluid from my brain too fast, and it was literally bleeding me dry. It was killing me from the inside out over a period of 10 years. So they had to take and put me under the knife and take that shunt out and put a new one in. And the only thing I don't like about the new one is I can't go on a plane anymore. I can't go near airport security scanners, and I can't go near metal detectors. Otherwise, it'll shut the shunt off.
Really?
Yeah. I actually have a little medic alert card that actually I carry with me that actually says this.
Wow, that's scary.
I've been through so many surgeries, and I'm going to say at least in all the surgeries that I've been through, which is probably more than 29, I'm probably going to say about 16 of those surgeries, each one they have taken, and the doctors have actually told me I flatlined on the table during the surgery.
Really?
Now, how many times?
Out of the 20 to 30 some odd surgeries I've had, at least between 16 and 19 times I've actually flatlined on a table.
Oh my God, that's outrageous. That is insane.
What's even more insane is I actually do something a lot of people wouldn't, and a lot of people, because I actually have keepsakes from those surgeries, which is the fact that whenever I've had surgeries like that, I had them take one of the little medicine cups that they bring around with the medication in them, but I had them take a new one, an empty one, and then when they would pull my stitches out, I'd have them put them in the cup and then take and put medical tape over the stitches and write the date on them that the surgery happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I basically kept all my stitches. I know it's kind of weird, but
that is weird.
Excellent. That is weird.
Well, it's not better. It's a lot better. What I do is a lot better than what some people do when they take and they have like gallstone surgery and they keep the stones. At least I'm keeping something that's a little more believable than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not bad. Huh?
Do you think that all of those surgeries and so forth have played a part in the experiences that you have witnessed over the years?
What was that? You cut out a little bit.
I said, do you think that all those surgeries and all that trauma has played an impact on the amount of activity that you've witnessed over the years?
I think it might. I think it might have a direct, if you will, a direct correlation, because I think with each surgery and me having taken and flatlined as many times as I did, I think with each flatlining that happened to me, I think it actually heightened my sensitivity.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah
sure.
I agree that would happen.
Because what happened to me during those instances kind of lines up with what happened in the Kiefer Sutherland movie Flatliners.
Yeah.
So when you flatline, I mean, God, that happened to you so many times. Do you remember from that? You have to remember something. I mean, what was that like? Because that's never happened to me, so I'm always really interested in that sort of thing. It's fascinating to me.
What I do remember, I remember a feeling of peace, and I remember reconnecting with a lot of people that I had lost, and actually getting the opportunity to talk to them and tell them things that I couldn't in life because of the fact that their deaths robbed me of the opportunity. And
right.
I remember looking around and seeing stuff that was like almost like cloud-like surfaces and brightness all around, but I had never been surrounded by such a feeling of contentment, and I had absolutely no pain or nothing. But during my out-of-body experience, I was actually able to do something that I couldn't in my physical body, and that was walk upright. Take and walk straight like everyone else.
Right.
Because the way I walk right now, my left leg is bent, and my foot is turned into the point to where sometimes it's almost facing backwards.
Oh.
And another thing is my left hand, if I were actually able to post a picture of it, you could see where my fingers are partially disfigured, because when I was born, fingers on my left hand were facing, the nail side was facing the inside of the hand. They were backwards. So my mother, because of the fact that I was still an infant, she actually took it upon herself to take and reposition the fingers to where the nail side was where it should be. But she wasn't able to fully do that with my middle finger on my left hand, so you can still see it's like turned to the left a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, man, I forgot what I was going to ask. I hate it when that happens. How long have you been investigating totally?
How long have I what?
How long have you been investigating totally?
I started with my investigation team and everything, which consisted of a number of people over the years. I started in July of 1993.
That's a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
That's a long time ago. And you don't have, like, any documented situations besides what's on your mother's computer?
I also have other documentation that's currently it's in storage right now, because right now I'm basically renting a room out of a friend's house.
Yeah.
Like permanent. But that stuff's in storage. But once I get all that stuff out, I'll be more than happy to take and make a scanning of it and post it. I'll post it on my paranormal page, which, as I had told you, it's facebook.com /1993 SPI.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna check it out. I knew that you had some stuff up there. You had told me, and I haven't had a chance. And I'll be really interested to see what you've got up there for sure.
I actually have on there screenshots from the original bulletin board from back in 1993. I have screenshots of the waiting for caller board screen. I have the login screen. I have everything confirming the existence of that bulletin board from back then.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
But my computer was it was a very, very old computer. I mean, you can actually look up what my computer was online. It was called a Compaq SLT-286. And it was running a 2400 baud phone modem, which I later upgraded to 14.4 external. And it was a black and white screen.
Yeah.
But the reason why you can see the screenshot on there in color is because in back of the computer it actually had a port in back, a VGA port, where you could hook up a color monitor.
Right.
And that's how I was able to show the log-on screen in color.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Just like the computer I have now, it runs by voice command, and sometimes in certain cases, depending on what I have it programmed to do, my computer can actually talk back to me.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, mine doesn't do that.
Yeah, my computer doesn't do nothing.
Oh, no, no.
My computer has a tendency to get argumentative, but right now I have the speakers turned down. But if I were to tell it to do something right now, it would tell me, do it yourself.
I love that. I wish I could set that up for my daughter.
Do it yourself, and then I'd come out to the computer. I'd say, you either do what I tell you, or I'll pull your plug. And the computer comes out and says, I'd love to see you friggin' try.
So let me ask you this, Richard. What's your? I mean, I know that you like to go to different places and investigate. What's your favorite thing about investigating? I mean, are you really into EVP? Are you more into just exploring a location to see how it feels? If you're sensitive, are you like photographs? What's your thing?
A mix of things. So what really does it for me when I go out on an investigation with my team is the thrill of the hunt, the thrill of the unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you go into it not knowing what you're going to find, it like heightens all your senses and all your awareness. It makes the hair on the back of your neck and your arms stand up, and your heart starts racing, and it starts hammering in your chest.
That's good old-fashioned investigating. Yeah, I love that.
One of the things that we don't do is we actually don't go where we're not supposed to. And I've actually known at least one, if not more, paranormal group, at least one I know of, that's in the area where we are, where my group is. One group has actually gone on the crypts, which I have a picture of the crypt that we looked at, that we had gone to back last year. We went to, early last year we went to a crypt and investigated, and, back
where
in
was that? Yeah, where was that, Richard? Where did you go?
the Cumberland Historical Cemetery here in Rhode Island, and
okay.
We actually heard that there was an organization there, which I do know of this organization, and they actually physically took the doors to the crypt, the gates that were bolted down to prevent entry to the crypts. They physically unbolted. They took them off and went in.
Oh my God, that's messed up. And I mean, you know what? That's what gives ghost hunters a really bad name. I mean, that's bullshit. You know, you have to have permission to go places. You know, and there's so many groups like that. New groups, they just think they can go wherever they want. I mean, this just can't happen, and it makes all of us look bad. It really does.
Here are the proper forms, because they would have had to take and fill out forms and that to swear to the fact that if anything would have happened, that they weren't going to take and hold the people that either run or own the cemetery liable or anything. You know, they did nothing to cover themselves. You know?
Yeah.
That's the place that you're at.
But one thing that I actually have that no other paranormal group has, because a friend of mine out in Michigan, he actually builds replicas of a certain car. Which, if I describe the car to you, you can tell me which one it is. But it was a black Trans Am that had a red light that went back and forth on the front of the bumper.
Right, like Knight Rider.
Exactly. Well, this guy actually, he's a robotics engineer, and he built a car that was an exact replica of it, but this thing actually had technology in it that would be commonly found in ghost hunting. And the friend of mine that has this car, we actually had him bring it on an investigation, and Kit actually lit up like a Christmas tree and was able to find certain things that a lot of your more commonplace equipment couldn't find.
Right. Oh, that's weird. That's weird. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the TV shows that are out there now, Richard?
Yeah. What's your favorite show? Yeah. Paranormal shows, Richard. Yeah.
Oh, which ones do I like?
Yeah. What's your favorite? What are your favorite ones? Yeah, totally. What do you like?
I like watching the Ghost Adventures one, but I from what I hear, that one's coming under a bit of fire.
Nah, that's all hype.
But I also I watched that one that Tats is involved with.
Oh, the Ghost Hunters.
I actually watched some of the members of Tats and actually conversed with them, and they actually even more intensified my interest in the paranormal, and they basically fueled it, because I've told them about my experiences, you know, about what happened at my father's house and everything.
Yeah.
And the one thing I failed to mention is that ever since my father moved out of that house, because my grandparents' spirits are still inhabiting that house. No.
Okay.
My family, when my father moved to Vermont, he sold it. It was my grandmother's house. And then when she died, it was sold to him. And then when he moved to Vermont, he sold it to somebody, and that house changed hands 3 other times. But the first 2 families that moved in after the ones he sold it to, because the first person that was in there after Dad sold the house, then somebody else sold it, then the third person sold it, and then the 4th owners of it, since my dad lived there, they just abandoned it, and it fell into disrepair.
Right.
And it's been said that, you know, that people are too scared to go into that house because my grandparents, basically, when they started appearing in that house was after the house fire, because of the fact that the house was not put back to its original specification. The house was made more ultra-modern. It was the same layout, but instead of having knotty pine walls and blood red rugs and a turquoise bedroom in that and paneling in the other rooms, instead of having all that put back the way it was before the house fire happened, they went and they made all the walls white sheetrock, and the rugs were white.
Weird.
You know, it fit well with my grandparents, so ever since the house was modified, they've been haunting it.
Yeah. Well, I hate to cut you off, but we're down to the last 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah, that's fast.
Yeah, we definitely got to, go through.
I would really like to take, and even maybe on Facebook, maybe converse more at length with you guys.
Totally. I'm sure Jason loves to talk about, like, all that.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, you and I have talked quite a bit, Richard, though. Like, you and I are, like, old friends now. Totally.
And then, actually, a little shameless plug here. I actually have a computer business called CSI, Computer Support and Information. And I not only deal with computers, but vintage electronics. And if you have anything that's basically like early to late 80s, early to mid-90s era, if you have anything that's broken or anything, go ahead and send it my way, and I'll fix it for you. That's probably half the cost of what anyone else would charge you.
Excellent.
Awesome. Yeah, it's hard to find somebody that fixes all that old stuff, too.
It is.
Yeah, not the way that I can do it, because, I mean, if you think about it, a lot of your computer techs out there, they rob people blind because they charge $30 just to look at something and $50 an hour to fix it. I don't do that.
Yeah.
That's great. I think that's great.
That is fantastic.
I learned all this stuff, by watching my grandparents taking work on stuff. I acquired knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to learn. Totally. I mean, if that's old
But,
now.
we definitely got to start closing out this show, Jodi, because, we're running down to the wire now. Why don't you discuss about who we have on tomorrow night?
Well, we have great guests on tomorrow night. We have two guests, actually. They're coming on together, though. We're not splitting them up like tonight. But investigator David Roundtree and Robbie Luntz, they are authors, and they're going to come on and tell us about the investigation and things that led them to writing their new book, which is called Demon Street. And I haven't read it yet, but I can't wait to read it. I know it's going to be really good. These guys definitely could write a good book, and they're going to be really interesting guests. So tomorrow, be sure and join us here at the same place, but only from 9 to 11.
PM Eastern time. And tomorrow will be the second Dumbass Trivia.
Yes!
Yes. You can't forget the Dumbass Trivia, where we answer the question. We answer the question in the beginning of the show, and we ask the question the last hour of the show, and whoever gets it right, whoever gets the question right, you can win a Ghost Chat Radio coffee mug. You can get an autographed copy of my book, Unrest in Peace, which is found all over Amazon. You just type up, bring up Amazon and bring up Unrest in Peace. It'll come up. You can win those kind of cool things. I'm looking at getting T-shirts and so forth and so on, too, to
Yay!
partake in some of this awesome, the Dumbass Trivia, which I got to get a cool little picture made up for the Ghost Chat Radio T-shirt. So, I'm working on that. Hopefully I can get those made up.
I totally think at an event we should sell Ghost Chat Radio T-shirts, and we should have, like, Team Jodi, Team Jason,
Well, Twilight Saga.
I'm kidding. I think that'd be funny, though.
Here's an idea. I have a badge maker, and if you like, I could take and make up some pinback buttons for you.
Totally. That's a great idea.
Cool.
That would be really fun, yeah.
Send me your logo. What you got to do is send me your logo in a form to where it's round about 2 1/4 in diameter with the logo on it. You circle 2 1/4 in diameter with the logo on it, and like in the lower half in rounded text, your copyright. So that way no one can secure your copyright.
Oh, everything I do is copywritten.
Yeah, nobody would dare. No.
So that your copyright would be on the edge. But like I said, it's got to be about 2 1/4 in diameter, maybe a little larger.
Okay.
I can make the buttons up, and then I can take and put them into a package and send them to you guys.
Excellent.
That's fun.
Excellent.
And And ironically, the badge maker I used was actually part of that house fire I mentioned.
Get out of here. That's crazy.
If you look on my profile page, you'll see the box to the Badger Minute badge maker machine. You'll see that it was actually burned in a fire.
Awesome.
I actually have it on my paranormal page, the SPI 93.
Oh, yeah. Now, be sure. Now, what's your page again? Tell everybody, because we're getting ready to sign off.
Yeah, we got to sign off.
It's www.facebook.com/1993SPI.
Awesome. Everybody, be sure and give Richard a like. Stop on by his page, and if you're looking for me, you can find
it. They can share it. They can like it. You know, because I'm doing a thing on here, a like for like and share for share. You know.
That's always nice. Yeah. That's always nice. And if you're looking for me, you can find me pretty much everywhere. Instagram, LinkedIn. Yes, you can. And Twitter.
Yeah. Except underneath my desk.
Pinterest. Exactly. Under Johaunt, JOHAUNTS, but I'm under Jodi Smith on LinkedIn. And you can also find me on Facebook on my other page under Jodi Johaunt Smith, which is my radio show page. So come on by and like me and join on as a friend. I'd love to chat with you.
And if you want to chat with me, just look up Jason Stanton on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. Go to the Ghost Chat Radio fan page on Facebook. Give that a like. I try to post everything I can possibly can on there. All the news reports that we made this week are up there now.
Awesome.
So, yeah, you can. If you want to learn more about the news reports that we did tonight, they're on there. I will also be posting, all the guests and stuff. And tomorrow, as Jodi said, we had David Roundtree on, and I can't wait. I've had David on the show before, and
he's great.
He's a fantastic guy. I love David to death.
Me too.
Yeah. I think of the actor Richard Roundtree.
Not him, no. It's all good. But until tomorrow, everybody, at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on DTM Wicked Radio, which I will encourage people to continue listening to because there are fucking awesome shows coming up all the time. Right here. But tomorrow night between 9 and 11 p.m. Eastern, catch me again here and Jodi right here on DTM Wicked Radio. And until then, everyone, I will see you later.
You guys yourself are awesome, and you should know that.
Oh, thanks, Richard.
Donata.
All right. Later, everyone.
Bye.
Later, Data.